If you're anything like me and you finished watching 50 Cent's Diddy documentary on Netflix, you probably noticed something really strange. Jay-Z wasn't in it, not even once. No photos, no mentions, nothing. And that's because Netflix allegedly banned an entire segment from episode 4. It was supposedly called the Jay-Z tapes, and 50 Cent fought hard to keep it in. But guess what? It got cut at the very last second. And I'm about to tell you exactly what they didn't want you to see. Now look, I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering how some random YouTuber knows what got cut from a Netflix documentary, right? That's fair, but here's the thing. I've got receipts. I've been following blind items about this documentary for months. And here's something wild. I previously talked about how 50 Cent had a huge argument with the documentary producers because he wanted too much control. Everyone thought I was making it up. Then Gene Deal confirmed it was true in his latest interviews. So yeah, I'm not just throwing out random theories, and get this. 50 Cent himself posted on Instagram just a few days ago. The caption said, "Yes, I have the footage, LOL. Go check it out yourself." When 50 says he has footage and adds that laughing emoji, you know he's sitting on something big. He's basically telling the world that everything I'm about to share with you actually exists. Netflix just chose not to show it to you. But before we get into the crazy stuff that got cut, let me ask you something. Did you notice how literally everyone else in that documentary caught heat? J-Lo was in there. Biggie was discussed. Cassie was front and center. But Jay-Z? Completely missing. Not even a single photo. That's not an accident, my friend. That's damage control. And when someone that powerful gets a complete pass while everyone around them is getting exposed, you have to ask yourself, what are they hiding? So buckle up, because this is about to get wild. All right, before we dive into what got cut, you need to understand something important. And don't worry, I'm not going to go deep into their entire history. I'm going to cover exactly what you clicked for. Jay-Z and Diddy weren't just business partners who bumped into each other at parties. They were close, really close. And I'm not just talking about making music together, I'm talking about something way deeper. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard who's been spilling all the tea lately, came out and completely destroyed Jay-Z's lawyers' claims. See, when Diddy started facing all these charges, Jay-Z's legal team quickly released a statement saying they weren't even really friends. Gene Deal said, "Nah, that's cap," in the realest way possible. Here's what Gene actually said, and you can watch it yourself.
He wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together.
So Gene explained that these two weren't playing basketball together. They weren't playing baseball or football either. So why did Diddy come on stage in Atlanta and pat Jay-Z on the backside? And why did Diddy literally tell the entire world, "Can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z?" Now, I don't know about you, but that's a very specific kind of closeness, if you know what I mean. And Jay-Z said the same thing right back to Diddy. Gene even mentioned that they used to have matching white girls together. When they'd see each other, they'd say things like, "Yo, how's your skinny white girl doing?" That's not the kind of conversation casual acquaintances have. That's the kind of bond where you know each other's deepest secrets, and that's exactly why Jay-Z is running for the hills right now. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember when Jaguar Wright went on Piers Morgan's show and started talking about Jay-Z and Diddy? That segment got deleted so fast it would make your head spin.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there.
Now, Jaguar was explaining why people in the industry are too scared to come forward. And then she started naming names. Next thing you know, that entire segment disappears from the internet. When someone has that much power, the power to erase conversations from major TV platforms, you know they're protecting something massive. So let's get into what 50 Cent actually wanted to show you in episode 4. The first bombshell was about Jay-Z's secret life. And when I say secret, I mean secret. We're talking about children. Lots of them. Children the world doesn't know about because Jay-Z has allegedly paid millions of dollars to keep their mothers quiet. Don't believe me? Listen to Jaguar Wright. This woman has been in the industry for decades and she doesn't hold back. In one clip that went viral,
here we go. Here's a fun little fact. I actually have verifiable knowledge of all 15 of Mr. Carter's illegitimate children that he hides from the world.
Jaguar straight up claims, I actually have verifiable knowledge of all 15 of Mr. Carter's illegitimate children that he hides from the world. 15. Let that sink in for a second. That's not 1 or 2 kids from a past relationship. That's 15 children whose alleged existence has been buried under NDAs and payouts. According to these claims, 50 Cent wanted to bring some of these women forward. He wanted to show the receipts, the legal documents, and proof that Jay-Z has allegedly been paying to keep these stories buried. But Netflix reportedly said, absolutely not. Too risky. Too much legal exposure, and honestly, probably too much pressure from Jay-Z's team. Think about it though, if you're just a regular successful businessman, why would you need to hide 15 children? Why would you be paying out millions to keep their mothers quiet? What else could be hiding beneath the surface? These are the questions 50 Cent wanted viewers to ask, but Netflix made sure you never got the chance. Now, this next part is going to make you uncomfortable, and it should. Because if even half of what Jaguar Wright alleges is true, this goes into extremely dark territory. According to her, 50 Cent had multiple sources ready to go on camera to talk about it. But once again, Netflix cut everything. Here's what was supposed to be an episode 4.
We finally gonna have a real conversation about whether or not Rihanna was trafficked to Def Jam.
She was the innocent baby when she came over here. And look
She
at
was
her now.
14 going on 15 years old, flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the fucking morning in a hotel room, auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning, a 14-year-old girl.
With no parental consent.
With
She
no
just
parental, nobody. She was
Well, yeah.
flown. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone with no parental supervision.
Rihanna was allegedly sold to Jay-Z when she was just 16 years old. Now, before you say that sounds crazy, let me walk you through the timeline and the facts that even Rihanna herself has confirmed in interviews. Rihanna was living in Barbados. She was 16 years old. A producer named Evan Rogers met her and said he wanted to help her career. Next thing you know, this 16-year-old girl is on a private plane heading to America. No parents, no supervision. Just a teenage girl flying to a foreign country. That alone is already strange, but it gets even weirder. She arrives in New York and is taken to a hotel to audition for Jay-Z. Not a studio, not an office, but a hotel at 3 a.m. Again, she's 16 years old, in a foreign country with no parents around. What kind of legitimate business meeting happens at 3 in the morning with a minor? Jaguar Wright alleges that Rihanna's father received a $500,000 payout to allow this to happen. $500,000. And here's another issue. Rihanna reportedly did not have a visa or proper documentation to legally enter the United States. So how did she get there? According to Jaguar Wright, she was listed under someone else's name on the private plane's manifest. When you're rich and powerful enough, you can allegedly move people around without anyone checking IDs on the airport tarmac. After that, Rihanna was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was placed in a conference room and, according to multiple sources, left alone with Sean Carter, Jay-Z, for nearly 6 hours. No label executives, no lawyers, no parents, just a 16-year-old girl and a man in his 30s. Rihanna herself has stated in interviews that they kept her in the office until 3 a.m. and wouldn't let her leave until she signed the recording contract. Let me show you what Rihanna actually said in an older interview. When asked about the biggest change after moving to America, she said, "Being away from my friends and family after growing up around my mom and all my friends for 17 years, and then moving to a big city with no one. All my family and friends are still in Barbados. So moving to a big city with basically strangers, that was the hardest thing for me to cope with. You hear that? Strangers." She literally said she moved to a big city to live among strangers. So who were these strangers? And why wasn't anyone protecting this child? Now, here's another detail that doesn't add up. Right before Jay-Z signed Rihanna, he was working closely with another 16-year-old singer named Eiriks. She had been signed to Def Jam by L.A. Reid. She was talented, young, and receiving a lot of attention from Jay-Z. Then Rihanna shows up. And suddenly, Tierra Mari is dropped from the label. Her career stalls, while Rihanna's career explodes. And here's the part that raises eyebrows. Tierra Mari has allegedly been identified by some as a Jane Doe in a lawsuit involving claims of inappropriate conduct that reportedly occurred when she was just 16 years old. Are you starting to see a pattern? Young girls, powerful men, and careers that depend on silence. And there's one more thing people have always found strange. Rihanna and Beyoncé have never collaborated, not once. They're both under the same label. They're both global superstars. They should have at least one song together by now. Yet they rarely even appear in photos together. Why? If the rumors involving Jay-Z and Rihanna were true, that would explain a lot. Some believe Rihanna even tried to tell us something was wrong. Her album Anti, released in 2016, features cover art showing a young girl, almost childlike, with a crown covering her eyes. The crown blocks her vision, symbolizing not seeing the horrible things happening around her. Jaguar Wright has called this a cry for help. The album is titled Anti, meaning opposed, as if Rihanna was opposing everything that happened to her. But nobody listened. We were too busy dancing to the music to notice she might have been trying to tell us something dark. According to these claims, 50 Cent had all of this prepared for episode 4. Interviews with former Def Jam employees, documents showing the timeline, everything. But Netflix allegedly said it was too controversial, too risky, and too dangerous legally. Now let's talk about Aaliyah, because this was supposed to be a major part of the Jay-Z segment, and 50 Cent reportedly had people ready to go on camera about what really happened. Everyone knows R. Kelly was involved with Aaliyah when she was just 15 years old. They even attempted to get married, and the only reason it came out was because Aaliyah's parents found out and asked, "Marry who?" What people don't talk about enough is that the entire music industry knew what was going on. Most people stayed far away from R. Kelly because of it. Dame Dash, Jay-Z's business partner at the time, has said publicly that he wanted nothing to do with R. Kelly. But Jay-Z didn't just work with R. Kelly, he made full collaborative albums with him. Not a feature, not a single track. Entire albums. All while, according to widespread industry knowledge, R. Kelly was allegedly involved with underage girls. And here's where things get even messier. Multiple people have claimed that Jay-Z attempted to pursue Aaliyah while she was still connected to R. Kelly. There's no definitive proof of this, which is likely why Netflix wouldn't touch it. But the rumors have existed for years. Dame Dash later dated Aaliyah when she turned 21. So where was Jay-Z during those earlier years when Aaliyah was still a teenager? And why was he so comfortable working with R. Kelly if not for access to the same circles? And once again, Jaguar Wright, yes, her, has been making explosive claims about all of this for years.
After I found out what actually happened to Aaliyah, there was no way I could stay.
Oh my God.
And then I started doing my research, and I started talking to other victims. I should have never signed that non-disclosure agreement, but I did. I took the blood oath, and so did my first husband.
Whoa.
And I left.
That's why it ain't never been right since, because you left it. You don't leave anything like that.
I did. And he was paid to be my husband so no one would know who I was really involved with.
She claims that she was forced to sign an NDA, a literal blood oath, to keep quiet about what she witnessed in the industry. She also alleges that her ex-husband was paid by Jay-Z to be her public husband, while she was secretly involved with other industry figures. She says that after she discovered what really happened to Aaliyah, there was no way she could stay silent any longer. Now, I'm not saying I know exactly what Jaguar means when she refers to what really happened to Aaliyah. What we do know is that Aaliyah died in a plane crash in 2001, and there have always been conspiracy theories surrounding her death. Some people believe she was murdered. Others believe it was a tragic accident. But here's what is known. Aaliyah was trying to distance herself from certain people in the industry. She was growing up, making her own choices, and no longer playing the game. And then, suddenly, she was gone. According to these claims, 50 Cent wanted to explore these connections in episode 4, not to accuse anyone of murder because there is no proof of that, but to show a pattern of how young girls in the industry were allegedly passed around, controlled, and silenced. And when they tried to break free, things became complicated. Netflix reportedly wasn't willing to go there. Too many legal issues, too many powerful people who could make their lives very difficult. So they cut it all. Here's something that should genuinely disturb you. There are certain people in the entertainment industry who can appear on major TV shows, be interviewed by big-name journalists, and never get asked the hard questions. And when someone does ask those hard questions, the footage mysteriously disappears. This is exactly what happened with Jaguar Wright on Piers Morgan's show. She sat down for an interview and started naming names. Jay-Z, Diddy, Beyonce. She talked about Kathy White. She talked about trafficking. She talked about murders. And Piers Morgan, who's known for asking tough questions, let her speak. The interview aired. People started sharing clips, and then suddenly that segment vanished from official platforms. That's the kind of power we're talking about. The power to erase conversations from the public record. Now let's talk about Kathy White. If you don't know who she is, you're not alone, because Jay-Z has allegedly worked very hard to make sure her name disappears from search results. Kathy White was reportedly Jay-Z's mistress, and according to multiple sources, she was pregnant with his child. Then, in 2011, she died suddenly. The official cause of death was listed as a brain aneurysm, just dropping dead out of nowhere. And here's the thing about aneurysms. They're extremely convenient. You can't prove they weren't natural, and years later, there's no real way to investigate them. Jaguar Wright has made some explosive claims about Kathy White.
Last question. I asked you to do this earlier, but I just want you to do it even more, go detailed. What do you predict will happen next in the future? You know, it's like you see it before it happens.
Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled, and it's not a man. And that woman died screaming.
Anything else?
Yeah. Show him the tape, Diddy. You got it.
Oh, man,
That might buy you a little time. You should probably stop looking for plastic surgeons.
man.
Looking for a new life, new face. We're going to hang you high. Jay-Z too. Beyonce too. And we're going to round up all the See, I love a good gay man. I just can't stand him. And that's what it is.
Would that be?
You want to know what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
I'm about to up a mirror.
Think about this for a moment. If Diddy allegedly has footage of something involving Jay-Z's mistress, that would mean Diddy has leverage over Jay-Z. And if that's true, Jay-Z can't completely abandon Diddy, even now with all these charges, because Diddy could release that footage at any moment. And it's not just Kathy White. There's a long list of people connected to Jay-Z and Beyonce who have either died under mysterious circumstances or had their careers completely destroyed. Take Kimberly Thompson, for example. She was Beyonce's drummer. She went to court and filed for a restraining order against Beyonce. Her reason? She claimed Beyonce was practicing extreme witchcraft against her. She alleged that she was drugged, hypnotized, and that dark rituals were being performed on her while she slept. Now, you might think that sounds insane, and maybe it is, but here's what isn't insane. Kimberly Thompson was trained at Berklee College of Music. She's a highly skilled musician who was handpicked by Dr. Terry Lyne Carrington to be part of Beyonce's all-female band. This wasn't some random person making wild accusations. This was someone with a legitimate career who walked away from everything just to get away from Beyonce. And after she filed that restraining order, she couldn't find work anywhere in the industry. She was effectively blacklisted. That's the kind of power this circle allegedly has. They can make people disappear from the industry. And according to some claims, they can make people disappear from life. And no one asks questions because everyone is too scared to be next. You know what's really wild? Sometimes the people who seem the most crazy are the ones telling the truth. Orlando Brown has been called everything. Drug addict, mentally unstable, attention seeker. When he talks about what he says he witnessed in the industry, maybe we should listen more closely. Orlando Brown went viral for talking about Diddy's parties. Specifically, he mentioned a massive bed, reportedly over 50 feet, located in Diddy's backyard. You can watch the clip yourself.
Spoken about it before. It's a 50-foot bed under the moonlight in his backyard, and he'd be like, "I'm not going nowhere today. I'm staying in the bed all fucking day." I got Rihanna in the bed, Jay-Z in the bed. I got everybody in the motherfucking bed. I'm God now. That's what he said.
Orlando describes a massive bed, illuminated under the moonlight, in Diddy's backyard, where these all-night sessions allegedly took place. He claims that Diddy would be on that bed all day with multiple people. He specifically mentions Rihanna and Jason, which many interpret as a reference to Jay-Z. All of this was reportedly supposed to be discussed in episode 4. 50 Cent was planning to expose the party scene, show how Jay-Z and Diddy operated within the same circles, and demonstrate that they weren't just business associates, but actual partners in some allegedly dark dealings. But Netflix wasn't willing to air any of it. Can you even imagine the potential lawsuits? Gene Deal said something particularly important in one of his recent interviews, and you can hear it for yourself.
These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats.
He said that many industry figures were involved in activities that had been kept quiet for years. But now, with platforms like YouTube, people can finally speak out about what they saw and heard. He made sure to clarify, these aren't street-level players. These are entertainers. They don't live by any code. They're just pretending. But here's what happens when you speak up against Jay-Z. Your career ends, or worse. Remember when Killer Mike won 3 Grammys in one night? That should have been the best night of his life, right? Nope. He was arrested immediately after the ceremony. For what? Some minor altercation with security that could have been handled with a simple conversation. Instead, he ended up in handcuffs on what should have been his biggest night. Multiple people in the industry whispered that Jay-Z made a call that he paid someone to ensure Killer Mike's moment got ruined. Why? Because Killer Mike had been speaking out about certain issues in the industry, and crossing Jay-Z comes with consequences. So here's the big question. Why did Netflix cut an entire segment from episode 4? Why would they remove content that 50 Cent specifically fought to include? The answer is simple. Jay-Z is too powerful. He's not just a rapper. He's a businessman with connections everywhere. Entertainment, politics, and business at the highest levels. When Netflix executives realized what was in episode 4, they understood that airing the Jay-Z tapes could bring legal hell like nothing they had ever seen. Jay-Z's lawyers could file injunctions. They could threaten lawsuits. They could call in favors from other powerful people who also have things to hide. And Netflix decided it wasn't worth the risk. They chose a safe documentary that tells part of the story over a complete documentary that could destroy them in court. And we all know who she's talking about. Everyone knows, but nobody wants to say it out loud because Jay-Z still wields too much power. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Netflix was pressured by Jay-Z's legal team to cut this segment? Do you believe the allegations about Rihanna, Aaliyah, or Kathy White? Or do you think this is all just conspiracy theories from people with grudges? Let me know what you think, because this conversation is just getting started. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay woke.